Aspewikwazini Tampoags. That's hello, friends, in my native tongue. My name's Randy Noka, tribal elder for the Narragansett Tribe, member of Status Purple, not-for-profit effort to keep the rights of the indigenous people in Narragansett in particular out there in the forefront. I've been walking side by side with Gary and members of Black Lives Matter. I'm proud to be here today, and we do have, to a certain point, we do have something to celebrate today. And thank you for everyone that's here. But what we do have to celebrate is that we still survive. As indigenous people, as the ancestors, the Narragansett, and what was done to them, we still have members here today that have survived the atrocities. How you doing, man? And so, not to take away from the message and what will be shared today, and whoever is led to share, keep that in mind. It's not celebrating Columbus Day. It's celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. It's celebrating those that still survive, that are still here, that despite what's been done to us as a people, as the Narragansett in this case, and other native nations throughout this country, what's been done to them since the first landing of whatever European person, whatever ethnicity they were of, they brought with them a different mindset than what the ancestors had here. You know, one of holistic and watching out for each other, communities, you know, and yes, there was battles with other nations, but never did we try to bring a genocide, a total wiping out of our people or other native nations. Never did we have that mindset, a concept of ownership of land. No, it was looking out for Mother Earth and looking out for the people, looking out for your neighbors, you know, in the community, that is. And if by chance there was other tribes in the area, then one way or another, you got through the wars, you got through the warring, and you still looked out for each other. What came with the Europeans, from those, and everyone, I mean no disrespect, but everyone that isn't a native person of indigenous persuasion is an immigrant. But yet, that person that currently occupies, hopefully for a short time more, that currently occupies the White House, thinks that people, if you're of brown skin, then he doesn't want you here. He's putting up borders between Mexico and the U.S. He doesn't want anyone but those coming from Finland and Sweden and those countries. That's the only ones he wants to welcome here. And I'm probably going to get off point, but actually I want to step back just a second because Bella didn't want me to speak of something. But please, for a second, I want, if we could, a moment of silence for those that aren't here today. A moment of silence that we lost one way or another. A moment of silence that have suffered at the hands of those that practice injustice and don't recognize civility in any way. A moment of silence for those that didn't make it or maybe are on their way. So please join me in that. Thank you. And probably that moment of silence, because we all come to know that time frame, maybe it should be 8 minutes and 46 seconds long. You know, there's so much that this country could do more for everyone. But yet, many of the leaders up here, they wear blinders, the racial prejudices that they look through, the glasses that they look through. But real quick, to get back to what Bella wanted, in 1978, there was a land settlement compact between the tribe and those in power at the State House, and you know, part of it was agreed to, in part, not necessarily with the tribe, because the tribe was a Narragansett Indian Land Corporation under state law that was created. But why it came to be was because the tribe sued the state of Rhode Island and the town of Charlestown and the federal government to try to get back some of the land that was stolen from us down through the years. Roger Williams and they shook hands with the leaders of the Narragansett, and what became Providence became Rhode Island. What was all Narragansett land eventually became 2 acres that the church, the meeting house, and the longhouse sat on. So what was all southern New England was all Narragansett land, became a little 2-acre parcel that wasn't even the name of the tribe. So in 78 or the mid-70s, the tribe sued to try and get some land back. And the 78 agreement eventually became law. And one of the tenets of that, it's still harmful to the tribe today, is that the civil and criminal laws of the state of Rhode Island shall apply to the Indian lands. And because of that, the tribe has been at loggerheads with the state and the town and many people down through the years, because we're a sovereign nation. You know, we don't need Rhode Island laws applying to our lands because they don't apply to our lands, just as they don't apply in Massachusetts. And that's part of what we've been fighting for. It's hard to understand why people think that, you know, people of brown persuasion, if you will, or Native Americans or Narragansett, they're not of the same rights to enjoy the fruits, if you will, or the powers of a government. We're a sovereign nation, and the Narragansett tribal government has control over the Narragansett lands. And the Narragansett tribal people have a say in what the government does. Not unlike anywhere else, not unlike Rhode Island, not unlike the towns of Providence, wherever. The people elect people into government positions, and they do that because the government officials, whoever get elected, are supposed to be listening to the people. That's just like a tribe. You know, a council looks out over the people and looks out for their best interests. But that's what the 78 Compact or Settlement Agreement was about. And, you know, I did want to mention this because I've done a lot of travels down through my years, and hopefully I can read it. But if you look up at the State House, there's an engraving up there, and you can read along with me: to hold forth a lively experiment that a most flourishing civil state may stand and best be maintained with full liberty and religious concernments. But that doesn't include the Narragansett and what our way of life was, how we spiritually looked upon people, our higher deities, who we look to, you know, who we pray to, how we still pray to these days. You may have smelled the sage being burnt earlier, you know, to bring a cleansing upon the area before we spoke today. You know, that's part of our culture. You know, and when we honor those that pass, we have a fire. You know, that's part of our culture. But yet those engravings, and apparently they believe that just because it says something up there means it's law, it's going to be right, or it's right, or whatever the case may be. You know, those words can come out just like people can be reelected or moved out of office. It doesn't mean they're right just because they're up there. It doesn't mean it's right just because they told the story. It doesn't mean it's right. We have a right to celebrate today because it's Indigenous Peoples Day, and we have survivors standing right out there. We have the 7 generations that we always honor. The young ones that are up there on the steps, I think, or back here, grandchildren and nieces and nephews that I have and Bella have. You know, that's something we can look into. That's something we all have back at home, maybe. We don't have our little ones with us, maybe, but we owe it to them to carry that message, to represent yourself and represent those that maybe not as well off, to look out for those that maybe need help. You know, that's what we're all charged with. Some aren't as fortunate, but don't think for a second, just because today we might be smaller in numbers, doesn't mean that we don't have the same rights, the same message, the same obligations to have those people that aren't here today represented. Be proud of who you are, be proud that you're here today, be proud of what you represent. And I'm honored to be here today and to look out. You know, I'm on this side looking out to whatever amount of folks we got. And it's not the amount of numbers, it's not the numbers, it's that you're here. Take confidence and solace and pride in the fact that you're here. You could be doing something else. You could be out, you know, the nation has a day off. Trump, that guy, you know, I read words earlier, he made this proclamation about today, and that's typical of what a president does. Doesn't mean it's right, the message that he gave. No disrespect to the Italians, no disrespect to any ethnicity. Bottom line is, today is Indigenous Peoples Day. It's not to be celebrated as Columbus, the guy that got misguided, thought he was given credit for discovering an inhabited area. People are already there. You know, then this country and how it was founded, the doctrine of discovery and manifest destiny. What has it that a people that is usually because of, no disrespect, certain color believes that they're superior because they happen to be that color, or their mindset says that we're better than anyone else. What has it that a people does that? Who can possibly think that they have this manifest destiny? Well, we discovered it, we planted our flag. Never mind, get out of our way, brown people. We're here now. I'll be damned if they deserve anything but what they do have coming to them. And you can make up your own mind as to what you think that is. Be proud of, I really am. I'm proud that I'm standing here with you all today, whatever ethnicity, whatever race, creed, color, religious beliefs, whatever deity you may pray to. You're here today, so that's telling me that you have some kind of belief in why we are here. So stand strong, stand with the Narragansett. Oh, yeah, real quick, some of the history. I don't know however long we have, I'm not sure. I don't mean to take too much time, but the Narragansett, if you don't know this, please look it up. On the computers, it's not in your history book, but look it up. What happened to the Narragansett? Look it up on the website. Look about the state police, the raid at the smoke shop, the Narragansett Smoke Shop. How they sent in 52, 51, whatever number it was, state troopers to arrest and thump and push down to the ground with their dogs and everything. Some Narragansetts, because we were selling, according to them in Kachiri, illegally selling cigarettes. Who the heck sent in 51 state troopers to enforce a law on a people that are peaceful? Yeah, we were selling cigarettes because we felt we had the right to sell them. Sovereign nation under tribal law. Other tribes are doing it. So what we felt the right that we had to. The governor and tribal leaders we had met several times leading up to the opening of it, and certainly everyone knows that we had the disagreement with the casino. You know, the brownskins can't have a casino, but yet you got two in Rhode Island. Didn't take long for them to vote down the Narragansett proposal, and within 2 years, create casinos at eventually Tiverton was built, but at Lincoln, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week casino. But the brownskins couldn't have it because our casino would bring in the undesirable element. Our casino would not have money coming into the state coffers as much as they wanted. But again, back to the smoke shop, 51 state troopers storming our res and arresting my wife, four tribal leaders, a tribal police officer, an employee of the smoke shop, 7 people altogether, our older children. Now they were manhandled by the state police that day. The only one out of my immediate family that wasn't was young Randy because he was in daycare. But I don't say that just because it's my family, but that's what they did that day. And later on when we went to trial, several years later, we went to trial under state law. The chief, council people, my wife, and a tribal police officer went to state court because of an alleged violation on tribal land. Now this is not right, but we went to state court and we listened to their charges, and luckily the media, I mentioned media and how much, luckily the media was there that day because all but 4 charges, they trumped up 70 charges, 16 went to trial, and at the end of, 8 weeks of trial, they found 4 guilty plea charges against 3 of the tribal leaders. But it's fortunate we had the media there because it was such a big issue, it was such a big news item with the Narragansett in the state of Rhode Island. And we heard during trial, one of the troopers was asked by our attorney, have you ever used that use of force any time in the state police history? And the trooper said yes, when we raided the Hells Angels drug house. So they're equating our smoke shop to a drug house. And no disrespect to the Hells Angels for that matter. But that's when they used that use of force. On my people, on our land. That's the mindset of this state of Rhode Island and those of like mind. And they got to open their eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's on us and the young ones. It's on us. Because sometimes if it's our single voice, then that's a voice that needs to be heard. Don't take away, don't shy away, don't ever let that opportunity go by when you could speak your mind about what you know is right. Because someone's going to suffer if you don't say something. And I'm tired of our people suffering. I'm tired of the indigenous people suffering. I'm tired of them paying the price because of the mindset of the people that just hate. They hate anyone that isn't like them, and they even hate themselves sometimes. But darn it, stand strong, ladies and gentlemen. Stand strong. Stand with the Narragansett. We'll make a difference. Don't let a day go by where if you can say something, then stand there and say it. Even if it's only yourself listening to it, because sometimes That's it. Your voice has got to be heard. Your heart's got to be carried. Be true to yourself. Thank you.